Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. And today we're going to be talking all about quantum computing and even more specifically, the stock DWave Quantum. And so the overall quantum computing sector has gone pretty crazy since the tail end of 2024. We could see for DWave Quantum that they were actually worth under $1, and then it skyrocketed all the way up to being worth $10 in January. We have seen quite the retraction when it comes to quantum. There was some fear, uncertainty, and doubt set by the NVIDIA CEO. And so quantum took a pretty hard dip. And now we're starting to see all of quantum and DWave Quantum starting to have a little bit of a recovery. And so what the NVIDIA CEO said is that he does not see any real world application being used for the quantum computing sector right now. He thinks it will take about 20 years or so before these investments, before quantum computing really starts to be seen in everyday life. So he thinks that we're a far way away from quantum. But with DWave Quantum, they're already using commercial uses with their quantum computers. So they're working alongside other businesses at this moment currently. So in the real world, quantum computing is being used. And so if you don't know what quantum computing is, that's fine, because I'm going to go over that in a second. Quantum computing can be pretty confusing if you don't know what it is. But before I talk all about quantum, my technical and fundamental analysis, I want to say before anything that this is not financial advice, and I always recommend doing your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. So let's go back to DWave Quantum. And so when we look at DWave Quantum for the last year, the trailing 12 months, as I said, they've had a pretty crazy year. So right now they are up 530%. But what's really crazy is these gains just started in the beginning of November. So there was really a lot of craze and hype behind quantum. And so with DWave Quantum specifically, just looking at the technical analysis, even though we did have that massive uptick, we did have that retraction, but we're still finding that we're at a pretty good support for DWave Quantum. And overall, we could see that we are trading in a positive upwards channel. Now, what's really significant is when we look at DWave Quantum on their all-time chart. So this is their max chart showing the last 5 years. We could see that the most recent rise brought them to their all-time high in August of 2022 of $10.86. So with this quantum computing stock, they have been in a little bit of a bear market themselves, but they are starting to break out of that bear market. And so if you don't really know what quantum computing is, that's completely understandable, as it could be confusing, just like AI. There's always new AI solutions coming out, and with quantum computing, the words of quantum keep getting thrown out there, but many of us don't really understand what the real world application is or what quantum computing actually does. And so I went over to ChatGPT to get a simple explanation on what quantum computing is. So I asked ChatGPT, I said, what the hell is a quantum computer? It gave me this long explanation, but basically a classic versus a quantum bit computer is that a classic computer uses bits as the smallest unit of information, which can be either 0 or 1, whereas a quantum computer uses quantum bits, which can exist in a state of 0 or 1, or a superposition of both at the same time. This means that a quantum computer can process a vast number of possibilities simultaneously. And so basically what that is that a quantum computer, from what I've heard, is just they're trying to find out every single solution at once. And so it could find out all these multiple possibilities, and overall quantum is looking to get us to be able to predict information in the future, get us ahead of the trend, to say. And so if you still don't understand that, I asked, explain it to me in one sentence like I'm a third grader. And it said that a quantum computer is a super smart machine that uses tiny magical particles to try to find out lots of answers at the same time and solve really hard puzzles faster than normal computers. So kind of just what I was saying, a quantum computer is basically like a supercomputer or a computer on steroids. And so I said, why is that important? Explain that in one one sentence again. And it says it's important because quantum computers can help us solve big problems like curing diseases or making super safe passwords much faster than real computers, than regular computers can. And so now the question is, that all sounds amazing, but the question is that going to be something that we could actually use in our real day lives anytime? Is quantum computing here, or is it many years away? And so the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that was sent into the quantum markets that caused a lot of retraction in all these quantum stocks is that the NVIDIA CEO came out and he said that he still sees quantum computing being decades away and that it is not a significant immediate threat to their business. They don't see quantum being something that we're using in everyday life, saying basically that quantum is decades away, so 20 years away or more. But of course, the NVIDIA CEO is going to say this because they're doing chips and other things with their company. So they have their computer chips, all that. So it actually helps NVIDIA to say something like this, to put down quantum computing. And so is the NVIDIA CEO right? Is quantum still decades away? Is quantum having any real life, any real world application in today's world? And so the answer to that is yes. And this is what gets me so bullish on QBTS specifically, is that during a recent interview, the CEO, Alan Baratz, came out and he said that DWave has taken a different approach, allowing it to move faster and beginning providing commercial quantum solutions. And so they also have the largest quantum computers in the world, and it is the first to support real world business applications in production. And so right now, QBTS is already working along a variety of massive businesses, Fortune 500 businesses here. They're working alongside Volkswagen, MasterCard, and many others on this list. So we could see that DWave Quantum may be ahead of the trend when it comes to quantum computing. They're already working alongside all these other corporations, all these big companies, and they're reaching multiple different industries. So they're working alongside manufacturing, finances, logistics, and healthcare. And the healthcare part is really huge, because if these quantum computers, if these qubits are going to predict future data, it could hopefully, and what it's meant to do, hopefully find cures to diseases quicker for us. So, overall quantum computing can really benefit us as a society. And so that is kind of the news on what quantum is. That is what quantum is. That was my technical analysis. But now let's talk about the fundamentals of DWave Quantum. Is DWave Quantum doing well when it comes to the earnings sheet, when their balance sheet, all that? And so we can see with the revenue that they have constantly missed Wall Street expectations. And so when it comes to revenue, they haven't done the best there, constantly missing expectations, being under what Wall Street is expecting. And then also when we do look at the net income for DWave Quantum, they have been constantly in the negative. And this is their net income when it comes to millions of dollars. So we could see that they are losing millions of dollars every single year. And also a lot of bears would point to this as well, that they have a negative income every single year. So their net income is in the heavy negative. Their earnings per share is pretty bad. And then also their gross profit isn't the best either. So we could see each year we have their gross profit in millions of dollars. 2023, they only made a total of $5 million. When we're talking in denominations in the stock market, that is absolutely horrible. Some of these companies out here are making billions of dollars each quarter, right? So they're doing fantastic. Hundreds of millions is a number you will often see. And DWave Quantum has only produced in 2023. And this is a gross profit, take in mind too. So their net income was very low, but only produced $5 million. We're talking about drops in the bucket. That is like nothing. The other day I bought an apple juice from the store and it was pretty cheap. I was happy with it until I flipped it around. I saw it contained less than 1% of juice. So just imagine if we're talking about revenue in terms of companies, it's like that juice bucket. It's like it was a massive apple juice and it was like the teeniest, tiniest drop. And so when we also go over to barons, and then we also look here, a lot of bears are also pointing at that. They're saying, wow, they're losing millions of dollars, wow, their gross profit isn't great. And so they do have a pretty high short interest. There is a short interest with 39.22 million shares being shorted for DWave Quantum. And so that's what some of the bears would say about DWave Quantum. But me personally, I'm bullish on DWave Quantum and the whole quantum sector. It is a very speculative part of the market. So take in mind, if you are going to invest into this play, it really is a wild card. If the NVIDIA CEO is right, it could be a long time till you start to see any real return on investment from anything quantum wise. But again, that's what the bears would say. What I would say is that this market is very speculative. And if there's ever a time to get into quantum, I think that it's right now, because that's what the NVIDIA CEO said. But just months ago, we did see that there was a push from Google, IBM, Microsoft, and others to really revolutionize this push into quantum. And that's why the whole market was going crazy. At the tail end of the year, quantum was everything, and it felt like a big competition from all these massive players. Again, Google, IBM, Microsoft. You're talking about some of the biggest corporations in the world. And Google has absolutely revolutionized the world in the last 30 years. So since the creation of the internet, Google has been the front runner when it comes to the search engine. We're even talking on Google's platform of YouTube. So Google really dominates a lot, and they have a lot of money to put towards innovations and technology. And if Google is looking at putting a lot of innovations towards technology, and that innovations is being quantum, you could bet that quantum is going to continue to gain more attention. And this could be seen when we do look at, again, we're just talking about DWave Quantum today, but the whole quantum sector. And then when we look at the volume in DWave Quantum, we could see that they have been on a pretty big uptrend this last year. Now, what I think that is positive is I think that a lot of investors, though, are missing out on this opportunity. I think many are looking at other big AI stocks right now, other things to invest into, and they're going to miss this wave with quantum, because we could see there was the big volume uptick towards the upside, but the volume has crashed back down. And it's not just retail investors who have sold some of their quantum, but a lot of the insiders in DWave Quantum have sold out as well. So we could see a lot of shares were unloaded this last year. So at the tail end of 2024 and then into 2025 January as well. So some of the insiders did take their profits, but I think this is completely understandable. As they were going up, their gains were just absolutely soaring to the sky. If you started to see 300, 400, 500% gains going all the way up to 1,000, it would not be hard to want to put in that sell button. And as insiders, they always get more flack for their sells. A lot of the times these insiders are using these sells. It's kind of like their bonus for the year. So just because an insider has sold, or you see insider selling, it's not the biggest reason to think that the stock is going to nothing. There could be in the future where we start to see a lot more acquisitions, especially because, again, DWave Quantum is working a lot with all these other businesses and everything like that. And so just like BBAI we recently saw, which is an AI stock, they got a pretty big contract with the government. If we see DWave Quantum and that big contract is providing a lot of money for BBAI over the next years, it's really increasing the intrinsic value for BBAI. So now BBAI is going crazy. If we see something similar to that in quantum computing and in DWave Quantum, we see them pick up a big contract with the government, or just pick up a big contract with some type of company. They start providing mass data. They really start using their quantum computers in even more commercial applications. More businesses use them. We could see the DWave Quantum have a pretty similar rise. The volatility in quantum has already been crazy. We saw this stock run up 1,000%. And so again, quantum is super speculative. And so what am I doing with this investment personally? Am I going to be long-term bull? What am I thinking? Well, what I'm thinking is anytime we are in a speculative time in human history, there's always gains to be made. So right here, what I'm showing is the chart from the tech bubble that happened in the early 2000s. And so a lot of the times I will hear people talk about the tech bubble, and they'll only talk about the negative downside of that tech bubble. So they'll talk about, wow, it was such a big bubble. All these people lost money. It was so awful. But what I encourage investors to remember is that with any chart, there is a start and a beginning. So we could see that rising into the tech bubble, there was a lot of investors who made a lot of money. And so with Quantum, just like with a lot of small cap stocks, we are chasing big gains. And so me personally, what I am doing with QBTS is what I did with a lot of the AI stocks, SoundHound and BBAI. And that is, I am purchasing options contracts that are far out into the future, long-term bullish options contracts, far out into the future for a cheap price. So when the market opens Monday, I'm not currently in QBTS, but I'm really hoping that we don't see a massive rise. I'm hoping it stays flat or goes down. And while these options contracts for DWave Quantum are still cheap, I'm going to pick up some good contracts. So on my expiration date, I'm going out to July, so 159 days out into the future. This just helps me to be more patient, and I think this is a safer contract than going too far or not going too far out into the future. I have a lot of time for this to mature, and there is still a lot of time for the speculation and the hype to continue to grow into QBTS. Right now, this stock is under $6. I am flashing by myself, but again, this is my wild card. I am really speculating on this one. We're going to have to see what happens with the quantum computing sector in the future, but I think there's a lot of speculation in the markets right now. We're seeing AI run a lot, and overall the markets are just reacting green to Donald J. Trump being back into office. So we're just seeing so much happening in the world, and I think that we're in an unprecedented time in U.S. history and in the U.S. stock market. So I think AI is going to go crazy. I think quantum is going to go crazy, and I want to be involved in both of these plays. And so that is why come Monday, I'm going to start my position in QBTS. And so I'm starting my position. I'm not saying that QBTS is going to run right away or do anything euphoric, but just like BBAI, I started positioning myself months before the rise, and I want to do that exact same thing for QBTS. I would be curious to hear if anyone in my comment sections has been investing into quantum, if there's any other quantum stocks that you're eyeing, what you think about QBTS, and what you think about the overall quantum sector. So please drop that comment in the section below. Please leave a like, and please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Money talk.